This is a Cinema 9 podcast. I am Michael Govier, along with Travis Roy, Eric Branchman. We talk film, movies. We don't mess around. We get right to the point. No jokes. There's no comedy. It's strictly business on today's show. Sorry for the delay. I'll take responsibility for that. Society, life, etc. Sometimes things get backlogged, and we had to make adjustments. And when you make adjustments with three people, there's three schedules. So it doesn't mean you could just instantly do it tomorrow morning or the next day. But we're here now. And Travis Roy, I got to say, it's good to be back.
It is good to be back. Could we maybe break the rules and make one or two jokes? I mean, is that all right?
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if they shut us down.
It's a very serious film we'll be discussing today. The Andrew Dominik 2012 film. What the fuck's it called again? The Fugees. The Fugees. It's called The Fugees.
The Fugees. The Fugees. Right? Wow. Yeah, Killing Them Softly.
I
thought it was Dolly Parton.
Roberta Flack, right? Wasn't she the orig? Eric, you're nodding. Eric, how are you? How's Griffith Park?
I'm doing so good. I had such a great weekend of like antiquing and like I had a steak and like had a nice screwdriver the other day. I'm doing awesome.
Yeah, a nice screwdriver the other day.
Yeah.
That's something you don't hear every day.
Nice little Saturday.
Yeah, that's fantastic news. I'm really happy for you. And yes, we're doing Killing Them Softly. It was Travis's choice. Travis made this decision. So if you don't like it or if you love it, then give him all the accolades or all the shame. I'll leave it to you guys to make those decisions. Either way, he can handle it. He'll move on with his life. But what's going on in Hazel Park, Travis? Anybody come by your lawn recently?
There's been no visitors of people requesting asylum, as has happened before. The only visitor I've had today was an extremely tall Comcast man who came in and to my home and with little footies on, which I really appreciated. Like he came in, and I was like, how do I ask this man to take his shoes off if he's going to come in and out of my house? Then on his own, he took out these little like hospital scrub footy things and put them on. I'm like, I am grateful for you, you tall bastard. And he fixed my internet, and now we're able to be here, or I'm able to be here. It would have been just the two of you otherwise.
Wow. Well, shit, that's always an adventure over there in Hazel Park. You know,
it's a wild life, I tell you. Ooh,
it's
baby.
a wild
world.
Life. Ooh, baby. I thought we were doing Talking Heads, but we're going to do Wild World by Cat Stevens. Okay. It's a remix. Girl Talk. Remember when Girl Talk was everything?
Oh, yeah. That was really a big deal for 2 seconds.
Maybe 5 seconds, but yeah, it was a huge deal. It's okay. Yeah. Hazel Park doesn't get its respect, by the way. Everyone loves Ferndale. Everyone loves Royal Oak. But Hazel Park just sits there next to it, gets shit on, and I don't like it. And I'm here to support Hazel Park. I want them to know it.
All right. Well, I'll go out door to door to my neighbors, tell them how much Mike Govey appreciates them and their efforts.
Damn right. I used to get a paycheck from Hazel Park Public Schools. It was a good life. It was a simple life, but still a decent life. Eric Brancham, Griffith, Indiana. I've never worked for the public schools of Griffith, Indiana, but I hear they're pretty decent.
I'm really happy. I'm excited. I got 4 more weeks of vacation, so I'm going to be sitting around watching a shitload of movies, taking care of my daughter, and it's going to be a wild ride. Wild ride.
Eric, right. I feel like you should dress up as this Brad Pitt for Halloween one year. I think you can pull it off.
I was thinking about doing it for the show. That's why I put this on, and then I was running late, and I couldn't find my leather jacket and those cool sunglasses.
Or your shotgun?
Whatever. Yeah, I'm a shotgun. Yeah, well, I have that next to me as usual, but everything else, no.
Of course. Well, I'll tell you what, Travis is working, but you have time off. It's a weird world. It really is a wild, strange world.
I have a different kind of teaching job, but I'm grateful for it. I'm happy to be still teaching even here in the heart of July.
All right, well, I'll kind of buy it.
I like getting paid. I like having a paycheck.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's very truthful. Money matters because people depend, animals depend on you to survive, and you depend on yourself to survive as well, so...
This is a true statement. I depend on myself to survive.
Mm-hmm. See, I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Any other words of wisdom for us today, Michael?
Never always open your shower curtain after you're done showering. Never leave it closed, okay? Because that's all the mold and everything.
You're right.
You got to close it right away.
Oh, yeah. Also,
let it breathe.
On that note, used pizza boxes are not recyclable. Everybody should know this.
Oh, yeah. I heard that.
Really?
Yeah, if we're dropping info.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
If I ever have a viral tweet, I'm going to let the world know. Don't recycle. You can't recycle used pizza boxes. And also the automatic air dryers in bathrooms are just poop conveyors. It's just poop particles. You're just spraying them all over your hands. Sorry to be.
Oh,
gross.
I don't use those. Yeah,
Those
those are
things
disgusting.
they should be outlawed.
I'd shake my hand.
Oh,
out.
yeah.
If
I'll do that
they
all
leave
day
me
long.
in, Meyer doesn't use. All they have is hand dryers in the Myers I'm in anymore, so I don't use them.
Yeah, it's paper towel or shake. I'm not doing
Do you
it.
do you use like that rag that's connected to the thing?
I would rather use the bar rag, the old school pub like pull
The
down
chamois?
bar rag. Well, you get like you just
it's
use
fucking
the
like-
sides because your assumption is that maybe no one else has used the sides.
What is that? It's just a
So,
gross roll of rag. Like who's using that?
it's a relic of a bygone era. That's what that is.
Yes.
Why would you do that? Yeah, it's pretty gross. Those are actually some good advice there. Do not
Great
use those
tips.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. You'll stay alive another 5 extra years, and it's worth it, because today, life has never been better. I'll tell you that much. And we're doing Killing Them Softly. Does it hold up? That'll be our main event, the focus of the show. Of course, Cinema9Pod at protonmail.com. I know we don't like emails, but we can't stop you legally. I don't think we have have we checked with the legal department?
For the record, we actually do want you to email us. We just we're trying reverse psychology.
Oh, well, shit. I wonder if Chad will send us an email when he, it'd be cool if he sent us an email from abroad. If that ever happens.
Friend of the show, Chad.
Yeah.
Always welcome to email us.
Yes, we would love that, Chad. So if you're ever thinking movies on your adventure, please make it happen. That'd be cool. That'd be so cool. We'd love to hear about that. But we have no new emails. We did have shout out to look, we did have an email, and it was related to the logo. Friend of the show, Christian Hierminski, decided to update our logo. I kind of like it. I haven't applied it yet, but I think we all agreed. We thought it was pretty cool, right?
Let's give a huge shout out to Christian for hearing our call to arms last episode and picking up that call and creating a new logo for us, which I agree is it's pretty awesome. Thanks, brother.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That was really cool of you to do that. He didn't have to. See, he went out of his way, and that's pretty special. That's Christian, sometimes they say he's tough as nails, but he's a sweet man. He says, "Gents, had I known a logo of sorts was wanted, I would have done this ages ago. I was going to try and workshop this with Eric. He's the hardest sell." Yeah, that's true.
It's a hard man to please.
But he didn't respond to my text, so I just went ahead without any prompts, which is fantastic. His original idea was to make a marquee font and use it above an actual marquee, but it was too busy and distracted from the name as a logo. I also tried this as a vector-like simpleton font, which you guys know all about. Everyone knows about that. And I don't think it had the pop. It didn't have the pop that something more lifelike has.
Gotta have that pop.
You gotta have that pop. After sifting around random podcast cover art, this will stand out, in my opinion. I went for a vintage film strip look and layered a bunch of different things to get there. Again, going for that lifelike look instead of a polished, cartoonish one. I unlit some bulbs in the lettering. That's always fun, too. I like that. But it turned out looking way too gritty. So he kept it simple. They're all lit. It's vintage. And the vintage you just kind of played out, I guess. So it's not vintage. I just lied. Anyways, we really appreciate it. Anyway, enough about the process. Hopefully it's something that could be considered. I know I'm no Paul Freeling graphics whiz boy. Most people won't know what that means. But I like to have a reason to mess around on Photoshop now and again. Keep my few chops up. Let me know how you all feel about it, whether it goes in the trash or not. Best, Shin.
Be aware that if you email us, we will read it in its entirety. There is no privacy on this show.
I did skip one paragraph because we kind of got the gist on how he was making it. So I will tell you that.
We do appreciate it. Yeah, and we're definitely going to run with it. Thank you, Christian. So
New
and improved. What's that, Eric?
Like, remember that logo of that bar where we killed that hooker? It's kind of like that, but not. We'll read it, everything.
You know what? I'm glad that somebody stepped up like that because,
we weren't going to do it.
Well, it seemed I don't really have the skills. I admit
Same.
that freely. So
I don't have the skills or the software. I tried.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
That software does matter. That's true. Thank you, Christian. Appreciate it. All right, there it is. So let's, on that note, Cinema9Pod, 5-star reviews too. Those are always helpful to the show. We would love that. Apple Podcasts is the only place still that does ratings, and until somebody comes up with a better system, we're stuck with Apple Podcasts 5-star review. But that does help the show. So think about doing that, and that's not a joke. That's a genuine offer, a genuine plea. Please. All right, quarantine viewing picks. Travis Roy. Did you take it to a new level this week? You actually had 2 extra days too. So
I had 2 extra days, but I didn't go too crazy. I watched a lot of newer movies over the last week. I wrote a positive review for Werewolves Within, new film with Sam Richardson starring, which I like him a lot. I wrote that review for our Instagram, which as always, I suggest you check that out. Did either of you guys check out the Tomorrow War, the new Chris Pratt big sci-fi extravaganza?
Couldn't care less.
Anytime I see like a star that's like got ripped for the role, and he's got like a gun, and like I just don't like Extraction, and like I can't care. But how was it?
It's a good creature feature. Like there's
It's
really
monsters?
good.
I thought it was like
If they sold it like that, they probably would have
bullshit,
sold it better. No, it's an alien invasion
monster.
movie, and it's an alien invasion movie, and the aliens, the special effects are fucking awesome. Plot holes galore.
Wow.
Throw logic out the window. It's a tick too long. A little overdone in terms of emotional like reaching. But if you just want like a dumb fucking like good science fiction, special effects extravaganza, you could do worse. And chances are you've got Amazon Prime, so why not? Along the same lines, I watched Fear Street 1 and Fear Street 2 for Netflix. These were interesting. I'm looking forward to the third one. Very much homages to the eras and like older films. Very much like a tween movie geared towards people in their 40s. It's very strange. Like it's like the attitude of like the feel of these movies are like they're like for kids, but you're watching people's faces getting like split open. So decent. Eric, you recommended Let Him Go, right?
I did. Yeah, I really liked Let Him Go. It was a solid thriller.
Yeah, written and directed by the guy that did The Family Stone, which had I known that going in, I would not have watched it, but
Wow.
it was okay. Generic title, but a decent film. Well, I mean, like the movie's about like a kid who's being held, so let's call it Let Him Go. Someone's holding the
Not
kid.
even exclamation points. Let him go. I mean, he's our son, and you're trying to murder him.
Speaking of generic film titles, I think I got one for you, Mike, unless you've already seen it. Have you ever seen And So It Goes? Like, what is it with Diane Keaton having all the movies where they're just like the most forgettable fucking generic titles? I don't know what that is. This is written by the co-writer of As Good as It Gets. I think his name's Mark Andrus, I want to say. It stars her and Michael Douglas. And you know what? It's directed by Rob Reiner, which, it came out in 2014, like 10 years, 15 years before that. What a huge movie it would be with that cast and director and writer and everything, but instead I had not heard a thing about it. It's exactly what you would expect. If you like Michael Douglas, if you like Diane Keaton and you like Rob Reiner, you're not going to be surprised, but it's going to make for like, it was a good Sunday afternoon watch. And I promise there are excessive Diane Keaton crying scenes that make it worth it, because fans of the show know how much me and Mike love her brilliant sobbing, which is she does like no one else. The Keaton wails.
Yeah, dude, it looks just like a remake of Something's Gotta Give from the cover. She's got the same white shirt on, glasses, and hairstyle.
I started it being like, I have no idea if I've watched this before or not. I think I have, and I had not.
I'm gonna have to watch this one for sure.
I mean, again, like no surprises. It's very by
Doesn't
the book,
matter.
But it's
I'm
in. If you like these people, you're gonna like this film. I watched a new Black Widow movie. Finally, that was very exciting. I'm not going to have anything different to say than probably most folks, but not the greatest of them, but I certainly liked it. Eric, I believe you hated scary stories to tell in the dark. Am I right?
Wow.
I did not like what they did with it. I did not care for the adaptation. I like the monsters in it that were cool, but
yeah,
I don't understand what this story is. They should have just adapted it like an anthology of the original stories. I don't know what this fucking dumb tale of this girl that went missing.
I think that if I had known that was your gripe with the movie, I would have watched it a lot sooner, because I don't really care for anthology films. And I thought that the way that they pieced this together and made a whole narrative to like bring all the stories in with like this overarching narrative, I thought it was actually really clever and pretty well done. So I had a pretty different feeling about that film than you, which I thought was interesting. Did you guys watch No Sudden Move, the new Soderbergh offering?
No, I didn't get a chance.
I'm three quarters. I'm like, I got.
Oh my gosh.
Are you okay?
I'll talk about it. Well, we can talk about it now, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you think so far?
Okay, so I love Soderbergh.
Right.
One of my top 5 all-time favorite directors, probably.
He's great.
And it's shot in Detroit.
And it's shot it's shot in my ex-girlfriend's house, which is really fucking weird. Very
surreal.
Very surreal. Like, under no other circumstances am I gonna see where my ex-girlfriend makes dinner for her kids, you know?
So weird.
Like, I'm never gonna see the inside, but so like the whole time I'm watching the movie, obviously I'm just like, well, there's that room. Okay, that's a nice looking room.
Wow, yeah, there's several people like you. I've had conversations like, oh yeah, that building early on, that white building when Brendan Fraser pulls up. Oh yeah, it's right across the street from Matt from Is It Safe's pod. That's really? he lives right across the street from that. He sees that shitty building every day. So
that's funny.
As he's quoted to say. So that's cool. Yeah, it's Detroit shot and that's fun. And I watched the movie and I went back to the beginning like 4 times because I couldn't follow it. It was really weird. And I'm not done with it. I have like 30 to 40 minutes left. And I've gotten to that point now after rewatching it like 3 times because I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Who the fuck is Frank? And like,
Frank is Ray Liotta.
The trailer looked really drowsy to me. Like I'm not that excited to see it. The trailer just made it look really. It is. Yeah, it's kind of a low key film. It is
big time.
It's a sleepy thriller, but yes. I really enjoyed it. I really hated the camera work, which was weird. Like, not like the camera work exactly, but I think he used a vintage camera. So the whole time in the movie, if you look, like everything on the edges of the screen is squished. You like look at this smart car in the edge of the screen, and then like the camera moves and it turns into a limousine because it's just like it's all squished. I don't know. So that really drove me nuts. But other than that, I thought it was a good, a kind of a return to form for Soderbergh. I felt like he's kind of had some misfires, in my opinion, of late. So I thought that was pretty good.
Well, look, last thing I'll say about it is Luke also said that
friend of the show.
Luke friend, guest host from time to time, fill-in host, the Joan Rivers, Gary Shandling of the show. He said that the lens choices were bogus. That's obviously
what I'm saying.
He's with you there. So, but I have to finish the last 35 to 40 minutes. But I was so intrigued enough that I kept starting it almost over to make sure I could figure out what the fuck was going on. So I really wanted to stay into it.
Bit of a convoluted plot, but it's kind of an unconventional noir. I mean, I thought it was cool.
It is. They don't tell you shit. That's the thing. And maybe sometimes I just got to accept that. So
yeah.
I'm sure. Sorry, but like, I'm sure like this John Hamm guy is like a really fun, nice guy. I can't get into this guy as like in movies. Like
he's not. He's in like
boring.
I like him fine, but he's only in like 3 or 4 scenes. I wouldn't let him deter you from the film. He's not a major character at all.
And he's Fletch now too. I'm like, we got this guy is Fletch. He's kind of bland.
I think he's way better in drama than comedy. Personally, I don't know why he took this comedic turn. Like,
he was hilarious in Bridesmaids. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, but I liked it better when I thought like this is like with a chin like that, this is a guy that should be in the MCU, but instead he just like bozoed his way into like Nowheresville. Oof, sorry, John.
I'm gonna get that clip. I'm gonna cut that clip. Save that.
I do like a lot of his stuff, but I think that he's made some poor choices. I think he should have made some more choices, like No Sudden Move.
He made a great choice with doing the TV show. That started good.
That's what I'm saying.
You're right. Maybe it's been all downhill since then. And we'll never know until he's dead and we get to really define his career.
Just can't wait for him to die.
Bill O'Reilly says.
So I another movie I thought that I had seen that I'd never watched before. Somehow I went my whole life without ever seeing Creepshow. I'd seen Creepshow 2. I'd seen Creepshow 2 so many times growing up that I just, in my mind's eye, like I thought that I had seen it. Then I saw like a clip or two from it. I'm like, holy fuck, I've never seen this. I need to watch it. And it was, of course, it's brilliant. It's fantastic. So it's maybe the best direction I think Romero may have ever done. I think it looks fucking great. It was really good. And then last but not least, the one I'm going to recommend the most is, you guys ever see this movie or hear this movie from '76 called Burnt Offerings?
No.
It's another Oliver Reed picture. Fucking great horror movie, a cult classic horror movie that like I had heard about in circles for a while. Just like the idea of like you get this, it's kind of a slow burn, but you're like watching this family move into this house. It's not even like a haunted house. It's just like the house is just sucking the will, like sucking them dry. Like they're like the house itself is a vampire, and like but scarier than that, like it just like changes them, like makes them change, like it changes their minds about. I don't know. It's, I mean, like as I'm saying, it doesn't sound like the most original thing in the world, but I promise it's a good steady burn. There's a reason why, like I've heard about, talked a lot of like other horror podcasts on that kind of stuff, and I think that there's a good reason why, especially if you like Oliver Reed, man. Like I just anything that dude does, I'm there, and this is prime stuff.
Do you ever see Curse of the Werewolf? Oliver Reed is like one of the most fucked up werewolves in history.
It was his first movie, his first starring role, rather, and it's on my list. I haven't watched it yet, but it's on my short list. All right, that's it. That would be my main recommendation for the week. Burn Offerings.
Woo! Yay! Eric Bresham, tell us what you get.
You know, I had never seen the Money Pit, that Tom Hanks, Shelley Duvall film. It was horrible. It sucked. It wasn't funny at all.
Not Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Long.
Shelley Long.
Yeah.
Shelley Long.
I'm sorry,
Real
dude.
sweet.
You like this movie? I
grew up
turned
on
it off. Like they don't even go to the house for like an hour in, and like the first like 40 minutes is like this dumb convoluted plot about like his dad and like this dumb business partner. I'm sorry, I don't like this movie. It's not funny.
I
haven't seen it in a long time, so I'll have to reconsider. But I definitely grew on.
No one's passionate enough.
I watched it like a year or two.
Take it on.
I watched a year or two ago, and I was perfectly happy with it.
I could give.
I took a look at Fear Street 2 because I remember reading the Goosebumps films and even a couple of the before I got too old, some of the Fear Street stuff. And I got to tell you, man, I ended up having to turn this first installment off, and it's because of that tone. I was like, if you're going to go like. I couldn't put my finger on it. It was like very familiar, and it was like Netflix's blank check. The whole like let's do the '80s song and let's have this act. It's like
it feels
so
very
like,
Netflix.
It feels like a fucking product to me. I was like, this isn't scary. It's not that clever or original. I don't know. Maybe I'll give the second and third one a chance.
What is it? I'm sorry to interrupt, but what is it about Netflix stuff that has like this I don't feel like Amazon Prime has its own feel or Hulu has its own feel. HBO Max, it's all random with this stuff, but Netflix, like there's just like this kind of bland, it's all directed by the same fucking people or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like this sheen of product that's just glossed over everything, and they're overlit, and they just look like they're just churned out. Like, get this out there right now so we can have this weekend. I don't know, man, but I wasn't feeling that. But I did watch more horror. I watched The Power. It's a British horror movie from earlier this year about this nurse who is in this ward, and there's all this spooky stuff going on, and like they can't use the power because there's this outage in the 70s, but they do this thing where like the power's out, and that could be scary because there's no lights in the ward, but it's like 2021 digital photography, so you can just see everything completely clearly because the way they shoot movies nowadays. So you don't have much of a scare there in that respect. And then I watched some Indonesian horror, The Queen of Black Magic on Shudder. And that was actually pretty solid. After like an hour of a slow start, it starts ramping up, and it's fucking creepy. So I'd never seen Indonesian horror before, and I dug it. So I can recommend that. I watched The Best of Enemies, Mike. I think you were talking about this like a few months ago. Like, Sam Rock. Was it you, Travis?
That was
like, it's one of these like Wikipedia article movies. It's like just okay, and like
you're a hard man, please.
Taraji P. Henson needs to check herself into Overactors Anonymous because she is like so
Are you sure you like
cartoonishly ridiculous. Are you sure you don't like any movies? Because this was trash to me. Like Sam Rockwell is turning in this stellar performance, and this is block script.
Yes,
and this
he is
overacting by Taraji P. Henson. That's just mediocre, paint by number biopic trash. I'm sorry, I can't recommend the film.
Oh.
After that, though, I watched a fucking awesome movie, Rampart, with Woody Harrelson.
Very good.
So fucking good, Mike. You might really like this.
Rampart rewatch.
Okay, yeah. Crooked LA Cops, Mike. Get on this. It's
yeah.
This cast is out of control.
It was the Rampart scandal.
Rampart District and the scandal Steve Buscemi, Robin Wright, and Page. Fucking
when did this
awesome
come out?
movie,
When did it come out?
I think it's 2011.
Oh,
but Woody Harrelson might be his best performance. He's so fucking good.
Whoa.
No one talks about this movie.
You just did, though. You're not no one. You're someone.
Thank you. But that's my high recommendation of the week. So yeah, kind of a slow week, but there you go.
Shit, yeah, that's great, man. I'm gonna have to check that out for sure. I love that kind of stuff. But I'll enjoy it.
Was it a busy week? It's not a lot of movies for you.
Yeah, it was very. I got guest in town.
Oh, okay.
Reichert stopped by. We did a lot of hanging out, and
Right
so
on,
yeah,
well, that's
wasn't
good.
able to see a lot.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, what a day. Well.
What a lovely, lovely day. Podcasting.
Podcasting. I watched some movies. I've been cutting it back, but I want to give a shout out to our pal, friend of the show, old Russell Withers. He's a good American. I think he's an American citizen. I don't know for sure, but either way, thanks, Russell. You've helped me out. You offered me some opportunities to engage in film, but I have continued to minimize my watching. I'm not watching a ton of movies like I was. I'm getting a few in there when I can, but I'm trying to prioritize other things, and I think that's good. I think I got a pretty good balance going on right now. So thanks for the balance. I wouldn't have it if I didn't think to have the balance. So you got to think of it first.
Podcasting.
Podcasting, the movie.
Did I tell you guys to watch Inside?
You mentioned it last week.
I actually watched it again.
CEO entrepreneur, born in 1964, Jeffrey Bezos. I'm sorry, Eric, you watched it? He told us he watched it, didn't he?
I watched it again because I wanted to show it to Ange. Andrew's like, this isn't funny. She walked out of it. I'm going to keep watching it.
The fuck.
Oh, shit. Well, hey, okay. That'll happen. I watched The People versus Agent Orange. This is awful, but amazing. A documentary. Really good documentary. Fucking terrible.
The documentary
so
subject matter is terrible, but the documentary was okay.
Oh, it's amazing. It's
okay.
Agent Orange,
it's
not
really
a good thing?
Yeah,
Turns out.
But I think a lot of people, what do you think people think of when they think of Agent Orange?
Vietnam.
Exactly.
World War I?
Exactly. Yeah, Vietnam. But the problem is America has absolutely been tainted by it in beautiful places. So it really was like, oh God, this is so awful. I really strongly recommend it because this is stuff you need to know about, and it's really well done. It kind of connects Vietnam with the story in Oregon and puts it all together. And I was really, I was moved. And I was like, wow, this is very informative too. So good stuff. Really good stuff. I watched Kids. I hadn't seen Kids.
Oh man, that's been on my short list for a deep dive. I've never seen Kids.
Yeah, I could direct you to. It's really hard to find. At least
I heard it's a hard watch.
I mean, I liked it when I was a kid. I don't know that I could watch it now. Like I think it'd be like Todd Solondz's Happiness, where I'm like, I'd watch it and be like, how the fuck did I find any value in this?
Never again.
Well, that's
no value.
That's the whole point, right? Like Travis, yes, we all it came out in '95.
I had a
teenagers.
Casper T-shirt, even
Exactly.
I loved it. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, there was things that we were like, God, that's awful and terrifying. But then we took the things that we thought were, because there were laughs. I have no legs. I have no legs. That was a laugh for us back then. We thought it was funny, but the guy truly had no legs. It's pretty awful. But he had a really beautiful song, so I could see it's it's really interesting. But as an adult now, I think it's still pretty gritty and raw, and I like that. It's a real commando shoot in a sense. Harmony Korine script.
Explains a lot.
Yeah, it does explain a lot. His stuff is major hit or miss, in my opinion.
Take a pass.
The fucking what was that guy? Like, what's that movie I tore apart with Matthew McConaughey a couple years?
The Beach
Bum. Ah, a piece of shit.
I saw someone recently post something saying that they thought it was the best movie they'd ever seen.
Oh, who are you? I want to know that person.
I went to their house and had a firm talk with them about their opinion on movies.
I got to throw this out there. So Eric Allen, friend of the show, also Eric, thank you for giving me access to movies. I appreciate it as well. Also, Eric's never seen The Departed. I brought it up. He had never even heard of it. He's like, what is it? So I just thought it was funny that he didn't even know what it was.
Academy Award winning feature.
I know. He said, because we were talking about Jack Nicholson, and he's like, and he brought up, I never seen About Schmidt. That was really like his last celebrated movie. And like The Departed, I don't know whether he liked it or not. It was pretty celebrated.
Yeah.
That was funny. No offense, Eric. I love you, but it's pretty funny because we talk about that on the show. Movies, just like Eric said, movies he never saw, or Travis never saw Creepshow. It's just weird. So
sometimes they slip by you, but usually it's because you think that you've seen them before. It's bigger movies. Like, I was surprised I hadn't heard of And So It Goes, but I probably had. It just has the most forgettable title ever.
Yeah. I watched a good documentary about Bitcoin stuff called Cryptopia. Check it out. It's really good. If you don't know anything about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, it really fills you in, and it moves quickly, and it's entertaining, actually, but it's definitely informative. It's called Cryptopia. Check that out. And then as far as Black Widow, man, so when I gave you guys my instant review last night, I'd only seen 20 minutes of the movie. So I finished it, and then I was like, I thought about it a lot. I had a lot of opinions and things came over me. This is a female-driven movie, so I'm rooting for it more than ever because first off, this should have happened a long time ago. I think everyone agrees about that, right?
Of course.
Yeah, it was overdue, and in a way, it would have just fit better in Phase 1. Now we don't have all the details here of how all this phase is going to work out, so maybe in a way it'll look better once we get more information and pieces from other movies and stuff. But some of the action was so fantastical, and it bothers me because she's not a superhuman. She's a great spy. She's an international spy. She's one of the best. She does everything so well, but she can't fall down multiple flights and
hey, no spoilers, man. Come on, this movie barely came out. Let's stop.
Well,
right
she
there.
can't get hurt like that. She can't take a beating, okay, like that. That's something that can't happen.
I would argue, remember in Avengers when she is flying around New York City, leaping from alien space sled to alien space sled, and I fell in love with her then. Because one of the things, because what I love about Black Widow is that she's not superhuman, that she's just super brave and fearless and athletic and bold and all that stuff. So I hear your complaint, but I also am like, it's a fucking Marvel movie. She's a superhero, whether she's super powered or not. I'm going to expect fantastic things to happen. I do think that there's some big misses in the movie. I think that there's some plot holes that are like bigger than average for a Marvel movie, where I'm like, why is this happening? This doesn't make sense. Like, there's a few things like that, some jokes that really don't land. But all told, I was happy with it overall. Dark. It was a pretty dark fucking Marvel movie, though, I think.
Yeah, that was cool. I was actually, I love that angle of it.
Yeah,
I love
that's not a complaint.
Yeah, and the fact that it's it's about like something different too. It's about different people, a different part of the world. In a sense, it's. I guess. I don't know. I get hung up on the fact that I love that she's bold and brave and she'll go through anything. She's super courageous and they set the tone on that. I get it, but I guess I gotta just accept the fact that dumb shit's gonna happen physically that just completely out of the realm of possibility. I do know it's a Marvel movie too, but I don't know. They also, if you're gonna set levels of certain things, that is still fantastical. I get it, but you're still setting levels where I have expectations for a character's limitations. Every character does have special strengths and weaknesses. That's still part of the superhero world, right? So that's what bothers me too. And if you're self-referential about your own fuck-ups, is it actually give you a pass? I don't know. This movie does that a lot. I won't say what it is, but it's constantly referencing the fact of at least two things, ongoing jokes in the movie. And I think, Travis, you probably know what I'm talking about.
I certainly know one of them. I'll tell you this. I really if you like Black Widow as a character, and if you just said you think this movie should have come out a long time ago, at the very least, I think that it's fun to get some behind the scenes kind of what does she do on her time off kind of stuff. I could just sit here. I could watch a movie just about her relaxing, basically. To be honest, what does Black Widow do when she's not at work? There's a little bit of that kind of stuff in there, and I'm totally there for it. I want to see what's between the lines with these characters whenever I can, and there's a good amount of origin story as well. Yeah. So all told, I would put it in the middle of the Marvel movies. It wasn't like an obvious one like Ragnarok or Guardians, where I was like, this is top tier walking out of it, but I still liked it very much.
All right, that's fair. I'll give you that. I'll leave it there for now. I'll let it stew for a while and see where I come out down the road here. I watched The Breakup. I hadn't seen The Breakup really since it came out, and I remember being annoyed by The Breakup. God, this movie is unbearable. But I actually kind of liked it more this time. I saw it's a really good example of a breakup gone wrong, and
really-
it doesn't work out either. So I like it even more. I should appreciate the fact that they stood tall on that, even though they brought the end scene in. I think because test audiences got super pissed. It's a bit of a who knows what'll happen, but I think it's a better movie than I realized.
Yeah, I think it didn't get enough credit this time.
Yeah, it's by
I feel
Peyton
like we
Reed
talked
too.
about
So
it. I think we've talked about it a few times. How much we thought it didn't get that much respect. I think it's laugh out loud funny in some places. Great script.
Yeah,
oh, you're Chicago biased, dude.
This is at least the second
Chicago
time.
locations. Jason Bateman's funny in it, dude. He's like trying to stay fucking neutral. He's just like, this is fucking hell dealing with this fucking couple.
He does. He's in very few scenes, and he definitely nails it. There's no doubt about it. I'll give you that. I guess that's it for now. I had some movies that I did watch, but I think I might try to make them run at it, bring them to the show. So I don't want to mention them.
Oh, all right, that's fun.
Yeah, really excited about a couple of those. So after Travis inspired me with this selection. So I'm gonna try harder.
I aim to inspire.
You do. You're an inspirational human being, inspirational character, but you are a real person too. So you're not just a character. You're playing a real role in society. Right?
Podcasting.
I love this. I got to get that. I'm going to make sure that comes a drop. All right. Yeah. Cinema Night Podcast. Those are our viewing choices. We hope that you select them. And if you don't, then you don't have to select them. That's how the beauty of the whole thing works. Eric Branstrom, Michael Govier, Travis Roy, Cinema 9 Podcast, Cinema 9 Pod at protonmail.com, Cinema 9 Pod on all your favorite social media platforms, particularly Instagram. There's a Facebook page. There's a Twitter handle. We got it all. There's nothing we don't cover. We're here for you. 5-star review on Apple Podcasts would make our day. I'll do something special for you. If you decide to give us a 5-star review, I'll go out of my way to make an effort for your life in some manner, as long as it's reasonable and I can accommodate you, of course. Nothing financial, preferably. Having said that, let's get into it. It's time for Does It Hold Up? 2012's Killing Them Softly, an Andrew Dominik film that is dominated by performances from Brad Pitt, James Gandolfini, Ben Mendelsohn's in the house. We got all kinds of fun people in this. Richard Jenkins. I mean, what a Ray Liotta. Holy cow. We got all kinds of people in this movie. It's a star-studded cast in a sense, although kind of a low-key cast, but still a very well-casted cast. Travis, you chose this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Give us your take. Take us back in time. Set the table for us.
Well, again, since this is from 2012, I actually do recall seeing it in theaters. I remember I went and saw it with my girlfriend at the time, and I was living in West Virginia. And it was I went. I mean, I'm a huge fan, as I mentioned in the last episode. I'm a huge fan of the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. So that Dominik and Pitt had reteamed, I was there. I mean, I was there if not opening night, pretty close. And it wasn't quite what I was expecting. And I feel like it, I was like, whoa, that was a lot. That was different. Like it's hard to put my finger on it, but I felt like it was different. And I made the purchase actually directly after when it came out on Blu-ray, and watched it, for a couple years. It was on regular rotation, but then it had been a while. And so I thought, why not? It had done what you said, and I figured, why not bring it on the show? I was thinking about watching it on my own time anyways, but I'm like, we'll do it with the boys. So here we are.
Wow, amazing. Well done, sir. Eric Branstrom. I know, Eric Branstrom, you talked about the assassination of Jesse James exhaustively for a period of time there in my life, where I associated you with the movie entirely.
Life affirming. You know what? I loved it so much.
You like that movie?
Yeah, no kidding. And I love Chopper too. I mean,
I honestly didn't pick. I honestly picked this instead of that because I was like, I'm not going to have my favorite movie torn apart on the show.
Oh, really? You must have missed that. You must have missed that era.
It's one of my favorites.
It's probably on my top 10 of all time list.
Same,
I talk about it all the time, but
we know what we feel about
it too. Like, I love Andrew Dominik. I love the work he does with Nick Cave. So I was so excited. I saw this in theater in Okemos on opening night. And Travis, I mean, I kind of mirror you. I walked out like that was it. Like, I was satisfied, but I was like, that was it. It just felt so brisk and straying and undercooked or something. I couldn't put my finger on it, but yeah, I did end up returning to it a couple more times after that. But it's been about 6-7 years after that.
Cool.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I definitely saw this in the theater. I remember seeing it. That was the day. It was a Saturday. It was an early Saturday. It was like a noon on a Saturday. I was teaching at the time, so I headed on over there from Ferndale, where I lived in Ferndale, to the Royal Oak Imagine right there on Main Street, which is right next to the sadly closed or closing Main Art Theater, which is a tragedy that we should acknowledge. That was a great little theater. But anyways, I remember sitting way in the back there, but in the center, but pretty far back. Not as back as I would usually be, but I really was in the far back there. But straight on, right down the middle.
Fucking memory, man. What'd you have for breakfast?
Yeah. What color was your shirt?
Breakfast. Jesus.
Well, yeah, that's fine. I don't remember what happened for breakfast, but I told you last week that I had a specific memory of that movie. There's some reason. I don't know why things lock in and why they don't. It's a mystery. It's very strange,
It's a mystery.
But it really is. But I remember having the exact same feeling you guys had. Well, I will tell you, I did have popcorn for sure and a large soda.
For breakfast?
I definitely had that. But that's not. Well, yeah, it was weird because then I had it at the movie theater too. It's like, why are you doing this again? You just
Double
did
it
this.
up.
I remember being really excited. I was like, wow, look at this cast. Look at all these people. And I didn't love Jesse James like you guys did. I thought it was a bit drab at times. But it was, I recognize that it was an achievement in film. I do understand that. And I did understand that. But I thought this was going to be really good. And I had the same feeling like, oh, it's over? Is there another 20 minutes that I missed or something? I didn't go to the bathroom. It was strange. It was a very, very strange feeling. But I remember, I want more. I want more. Wait. What about this Dylan character? Is he involved? Weird. So at any rate, yeah, I remember that feeling. Having said that, I have no idea what the IMDb score is. Anybody want to take a guess on this one? I think this is a mystery. Or maybe it's not.
I'm going to guess it's pretty well regarded. I'm going to guess 7.0.
That's a good guess. I'll say maybe 6.7 to undercut a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's under 7 too, just because of everything we just described and people who never saw. If people just showed up to see it, like, what the fuck is this? You might have felt like it's even worse. I'm gonna say it's 6.5. So actual retail price 6.2.
Wow.
Ouch. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's that's 136,000 ratings, so that's decent for
yeah, that's a lot of rating. That's a reflection of how people feel then. It's an unconventional film, and that's one of the first notes I made. And I don't know what exactly it is, but it moves along at a really brisk clip, and it's only an hour and a half long.
True.
And I could see where some people could, have an issue with it, but I'm ready to talk about it. I'm excited to talk about it.
How did the Rotten Tomato scores go? What do you guys think? If that's what IMDb was,
I'm going to say the audience is about split. I'm going to say the audience is at like 50, and I say that I'm going to say that the critics probably liked it. The critics are probably in the 70s or 80s. That's my guess.
That's pretty good. 44 from the audience. Yeah. Okay. 74 from the critics. I think this might be the biggest gap. One of the.
Well, when you go to when your average Joe goes to the movie theater, sees Brad Pitt with a shotgun, it's like, this is a fucking crime movie with Brad Pitt, and he doesn't show up for an hour into a 97-minute movie.
23
Probably
minutes.
not going to get your.
That's a big stretch. Yeah, that was a big stretch.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. He's not in the entire first act, which is, he doesn't come until the second act. And if you're expecting like a heist movie, and then you get in the heist is a kind of underwhelming heist. Like intentionally so in a lot of ways. It's not like they're, it's not Heat, right? It's the whole movie is, the movie in a lot of ways is about incompetence, I think, is one of the main themes of this film.
That is a really good point. Yeah, it's like, how are all these? Yeah, okay. I'd like to talk about that more in a second. But, we got reviews here, and so Destin Thompson actually responded to us.
Oh, yeah, Destin wrote us back. He said, thanks for being a fan, basically. Thanks for thanking us, being a thank you fan. Destin, I can't talk about that.
Hey, thanks for the note. He really enjoyed it. So that was really cool. Thanks, Destin Thompson. I don't know if you hear this, but we do appreciate it. And that means more to us than we could really ever say. You're a hero and inspiration to us, and we thank you for that.
I actually took a screenshot of his message and got it tattooed on my ass. I'm very
I
excited.
didn't see. That's what I'm talking about. I didn't even know that. That's next level.
New news.
Yeah, breaking news. Richard Roper said, "Killing Them Softly collapses under the crushing weight of the director's narcissism." Boom.
Wow.
Ouch.
That is an unkind review.
I didn't know he was such a narcissist. Andrew Dominic, have you guys heard this?
I don't know, but do critical reviews often include clinical diagnoses?
I don't know. That is a whole nother show. I'd kind of like to dive into that show, frankly. That could be fun. Lisa Kennedy of the Denver Post said, ultimately, as crafted as Killing Them Softly is, it's less satisfying than either The Sopranos or Goodfellas. Whoa. Still, wow. Still.
That's okay. It says a lot.
Yeah. Still, Dominic and his cast cruise some very mean streets indeed. 3 out of 4 stars. So that's a high praise. I mean, was anybody thinking on that level with this movie, or at least coming into it? I don't know. Maybe people were
expecting something like The Sopranos. You mean,
or Goodfellas? I mean, that's like
I think that they
for
were.
The moon there.
I think that they were. They saw James Gandolfini and Ray Liotta in a mob movie and went, "Oh, this is going to be great," and it is great, I think. But they clearly were expecting like. All right, well, we have more to talk about.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, there's a ton of reviews here. This is like 13 pages of it. We won't cover them all, but I'm looking for Destin Thompson. That's what we're always doing here. We're searching for Destin. That's like our side quest on this show.
We're starting a side podcast, actually.
Oh, cool! That's fantastic. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone says the acting is aces, especially Pitt, mixing it up with superb Gandolfini as an assassin losing his game to hooch and hookers. They make this movie a potently nasty provocation.
All right.
Potently nasty provocation? Is that on anyone else's mind?
I didn't write that down.
I think this was right before Ebert died. Well, maybe a couple years. Ebert's still alive, though. It seems as if I've been seeing versions of this story since forever.
He included the raspberry?
No, but it's 2 out of 4 stars. So I wanted to make sure people understood that was a bad review. But usually he's so much more eloquent, but his life got tougher as he got older. So
I hear that happen.
Anyways, most of these critics like this. I mean, there's a billion red tomatoes up and down these pages. So it's a lot of positive reviews, but this movie shot for the moon, maybe. And then people thought that was what was really, there's the last one. This is from Ann Hornaday of the Washington Post. I like her a lot, by the way. We should read her more often on the show. Possesses a modicum of swagger and style, even as it perpetuates some of the crime genre's more tedious cliches, from slow motion savagery to facile cynicism.
I think that sounds kind of fair. I mean, mostly I think people were a little disappointed with how talky the film is. I mean, this would make a great stage play, in my opinion. And it's because of that script and that dialogue that makes that I ended up, I'll talk more about whether or not I loved it or not, but I ended up enjoying it at least more than I did on those first few times because of these beautiful speeches that really get you into these characters. And what it does is it deglamorizes every criminal element that we've come to see in movies like Goodfellas or The Godfather. Yeah. It's like every one of these so-called masculine figures are completely stripped away from any machismo or glamorization that Hollywood has given them, down to each character.
I think that's a great point.
Hell yeah, dude! That is the point of the show. I think we should call it that.
I have another insight too. I think that a lot of people may have disliked about the movie, which is something that I originally disliked about the movie as well, which was not Gandolfini's performance, because his performance is outstanding. I never had a problem with his performance, but I hated the character. I was really disappointed in the character the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
Yep. And so I think that a lot of people were like, had a problem with that.
Right.
Yes. I remember being in the theater like, God, this is fucking torture. This is torture. Yeah. This is hell. This guy's not fun. He doesn't want to do the job. How are you not clearly seeing that this guy's toast? I know you seem to like him a lot, and you have thought highly of him as, a contract killer and somebody to get the job done for you, but he's over and he doesn't even care anymore. And maybe you feel bad in a sense because he doesn't feel anything
Right.
for himself anymore. I can understand that, but you gotta get the hell out of there. And if you were expecting him to do anything, then you're a fucking moron.
And one of the things that I really liked about the character, and one of the things I like about the movie, is the constant intoning political speeches that are being picked up from TVs and radios that are around and stuff. And when Gandolfini's character Mickey is introduced, like George Bush is in the background talking about competence and how competence is going to save us from our current dire situation. And that's what Brad Pitt's character, that's what Jackie needs Mickey for. Like, I need your competence. And he's lost it. So
heavy-handed the hut. That's what that is.
A little heavy. You mean all the political speeches, or that one particularly?
Yeah, like, it's not subtle, right? But it's consistent too. So maybe he's not trying to be subtle with it, but he's
not
throughout the movie.
Look, the movie starts with like a unsettled, back and forth, jarring, like cutting in and out speech from Obama, and then one of the first shots is like these giant looming billboards of McCain and Obama, like these indifferent figures looming over like this wasteland. I don't think the movie's trying to be subtle about its political argument.
Literally, the news is everywhere around you because it's flying everywhere in the guise of these newspapers. Here's brilliant.
Yeah, I have a question right off the bat. Is there another movie that deals with the 2008 financial crisis? Hardly at all. I mean, I was trying to think of ones that did, and like The Big Short, which was
there's one for sure I can think of right off the top of my head.
And 99 Homes were the only two I could really think of.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The Up in the Air came out in 2009. It was absolutely about that. And that was very timely, and that's the one I think of.
Yeah, I'd like to see that again then, because I'd like more stuff directly from that era. Like, I was thinking Fun with Dick and Jane, but that was 2005. It was a remake, but it does deal with like Enron and a lot of that kind of stuff. But I think that as far as movies, again, I got to rewatch Up in the Air. But as far as movies about this era, I think that this is a real, like, this is it. Like, there's not many others. Like, whether like it, love it, hate it, however you feel about the movie, if you want to like get a kind of a reflection, I think, of like post Katrina, early in the crisis of 2008, then you'd have to look at this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. And like a lot of people that rag on this for putting these televisions and these speeches, and we've got criminals listening to NPR before it hit. Come on, what criminal's doing that? But he does it on purpose to. What I like about it is it actually mirrors the story in a lot of ways. We have this card game. The plot is this card game that gets knocked off. Confidence is destroyed, but we have to keep the money coming in. So what do? We kill Ray Liotta and the game can continue. So we're doing this shitty thing in order to keep the economy of this card game satiated. And it's the same thing with the bailouts and the banking system. And it took me a few watches to really let that set in, that it's basically the same tale told within the guise of this criminal underworld. I think it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's all metaphorical, and like I'm not always sure what I understand, like if I understand the metaphors that are being made, but I think that like the first time the card game gets knocked over, I think that Marky, Ray Liotta's character, I mean, is that maybe supposed to be like the 1929 economic collapse? They call it total economic collapse when that game goes under. Maybe it's supposed to be, I'm not exactly sure, but like it's definitely like a sign of like, this has happened before. Right. and then again, like you say, like the criminal economy in the movie is supposed to it's reflecting the actual economy at the time, which is where thieves have come in and fucking destroyed it. They've robbed.
Yep. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I remember this being the first time I really saw Ben Mendelsohn, at least for me. I was like, who's this gross fucking guy, though? That's how I remember reacting to it, because he's so gross. He's a heroin addict, and he's gross, and he takes care of these dogs that he seems to really care about, but he doesn't care about himself in the least.
Whoa, back up. He cares about what now? The dogs? Are you fucking high right now? Are you serious?
Early on.
No, he doesn't. He's the lowest of the low because he's a dog napper, one, and he throws them. Yeah. He's not even, it doesn't show him feeding them or taking them out. They're shitting and pissing all over each other in a herd because he's holding them for ransom or to sell them outright. He does not care about these dogs at all. He is a
currency.
I'm a dog lover, and I know you. Obviously, you are. I feel like he had a little bit of a he had a little bit of a feel more than he had it for himself. I really do.
He
But
was
that's
a
not saying
complete
much. That might not be
fucking
saying much.
cunt, in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
I love Ben Mendelsohn, but like this character is despicable. That's the thing. I mean, these two characters, Scoot McNairy and Ben Mendelsohn, I think they devote a little too much time to them in that beginning. Some of these speeches they're giving about, the prison time, I think you could have keep that, but in the movie this short, why not cut to something that Jackie might be doing, or some of the other characters? They spend a little too much time on that. Guess it enhances the plot.
I get your point, but like Mike was saying, this was a movie that really introduced me to Ben Mendelsohn as well, as also Place Between the Pines or Beyond the Pines, which we've talked about on the show before,
which I hadn't seen yet. So
yeah, I saw them both the same year. I saw this first, and this definitely made me sit up and notice between this and then that, and then what was that that show that he did, Bloodline?
Bloodline.
The first season, anyways.
Great.
So with all that, like, yeah, so maybe whether it was needed or not, it made me sit up and notice Ben Mendelsohn, which I hadn't done before. And also, I think that the nodding out scene here, which is a little later in the film, when Russell Mendelsohn's character is filling, was it Frankie? I think Jack or Scoop McNairy's character in on like how he fucking ratted them out completely, how he told on themselves. That's a really maybe one of the best examples in film I think I've ever seen. I've never been on heroin. I don't plan to ever be on heroin, but I think it's one of the best examples in film I think I've seen of someone being fucked up, because like you feel it as you're watching it. You're like, he's fading in and out and coming in and out of consciousness and like focusing, then like unfocusing, like the light and everything. It's all like, I think that's so well done.
Yeah, it is pretty well done. I would say that's pretty spot on. I'll tell you this. I kind of like those guys. Like, I remember being annoyed by it too, Eric. I know the feeling you're saying. Like, I was spending too much time with Scooter, Bozo McNairy and Mendelsohn, and
it's kind of Scoot McNairy's story if you look at the through line of the entire movie. But I think they press too much on the same point in maybe like a few too many scenes.
But I actually think he's kind of a competent guy. But this is a guy who surrounds himself with incompetent people as well. Like that's his downfall as well.
Frankie,
I would like to,
saying. Okay.
Yeah. I would like to see more. I'd like to see more Richard Jenkins. Like, who is this guy? Is this guy like he's a millionaire or something? Like, yeah. I get the feeling that he's actually not involved in any of the crime business, but he's aware of it. But he just loves this card game. I don't know. It's really weird. Like, he could be a doctor for all we know. I love wondering what this guy's character is and what his life's like beyond these conversation he has in the car with Brad Pitt.
We never get a name for him in the credits. He's referred to as driver, but in the movie at one point, Brad Pitt, Jackie refers to him as councilman.
Yes,
and I think that's. I don't think he's literally a councilman. I think it's supposed to be like, because he's representing like the heads of the families, right? He says it's ruled by committee. It's complete corporate mentality, right? Like everything, like everybody's like. No one can make a decision. So I really get the feeling that he's like this middleman, like he's middle management basically.
Yeah.
And he's definitely not a millionaire, and neither are the bosses, because at one point Jackie asked for $500, maybe $1,000 for something, I forget. And Richard Jenkins goes, Jesus, I'm gonna have to run that by the guy. Like, he's gotta get that approved. He's gotta get $500 approved.
Yeah.
Like these guys are they're for all their strength, they're all so weak.
Yeah.
I love that. Like one of the things I was wondering just about like that character, and then this whole, I had to actually look up and be like, is this the Boston Mafia? They don't really get too much into any intricacies of like the Boston mob at all. I think
it's not in Boston.
Is it not?
It's all shot and takes place despite the fucking lack of accents, it's all shot and takes place in New Orleans.
You know what? I didn't even get a hint of that. Maybe I'm off my rocker, but so you got George Higgins, who writes 2 other novels within like this same universe or whatever. And I'm pretty sure, because of my research I did on those, I think those are Boston crime films. So I'm like, why don't you take some elements of those books to beef up this script and make it a little more interesting, so we have a concept of this scheme? Because you got Sam Shepard blowing in as this supposed head honcho for like 5 seconds, and you never return to him. Like,
Dylan.
he establishes himself like a motherfucker as a force to be reckoned with. He's scary. He's memorable in that one scene he's in, and I'm thinking that Sam Shepard probably wasn't that long for the world when that was filmed, and maybe he was supposed to be in it more. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm surprised, Eric. You were the king of saying like there's too much bloat. There's too much bloat. I thought you would love the sleek running time on this film.
That's so weird because this is probably a great instance of where I just wanted more and more. And give me a deleted scene, just put it back in. Anything else?
Yeah,
but I'm just
wow.
I'm so perplexed. I did not know this was New Orleans. What the fuck is with me?
I didn't recall that either. And
why didn't they take advantage of that? If this is post Katrina, I don't remember them saying.
I've puzzled about this one since I watched it. I only knew it takes place in New Orleans because I remember like I read about it in a review before I saw it. So like going in, I'm like, okay, this is shot in New Orleans, and I double checked a couple nights ago, and like, yeah, it's all shot in New Orleans. It's on location. These are supposed to be like, where are the fucking accents? I don't know. Like, they don't need to have like a stereotypical, like they don't need to sound like Gambit, but I mean, like they need to.
I think there's a lot. Yeah, I think there's a lot of transplants. I know I could buy that too, like especially with crime. Whatever. It's not the biggest issue for me. But
transplants and accents, I really like that they let Ben Mendelsohn have his Australian accent. They should do that more in film. Like you don't need to have everybody who's like from another country.
Yeah, they did that in Margin Call. When I watched Margin Call, Bettany just gets to use his regular voice because he's in the financial system. He's in New York City, but yeah, that would happen. So
I've lived all over it. I've met people from all over everywhere I've went.
I've actually been thinking about that a lot lately. That's weird.
I mean, not only that, but the fact that they end up deporting him and literally kicking him out of America and out of this system that the whole movie is teaching us about, like win or lose, play the game. Like you're the fuck out. You don't even get to play the game.
The worst person in the movie is the one that basically wins and gets away.
Yeah, can we talk about the effort that goes into the car crash scene?
Oh my god!
Movie? Yeah.
I feel like this movie's so short and it's given a lot of time, you know, just that. I mean, it's not a long scene, but it is pretty in depth, and it seems like he wants to. This reminded me of something, and I always keep forgetting to bring it up on the show. Remember around 2009ish when 3D TVs and like all this with the Jackass 3, all these 3D movies started coming out around 2010, and slow mo became a standard, and even in Sherlock Holmes, I mentioned it in 2011.
After 300,
and with 3D TVs and this new there was some other new technology that was coming through with camera work and all that was. I can't explain it right now.
Between Matrix and 300, everything got real slowed down for a while.
Yeah, but they took it to a new level with these 3D movies to show you like, look at the bullet particles or look at the wood splattering from a bullet, and it was like. I just remember it because it died. It died pretty quickly. And this kind of reminded me as like one of the last parts of that because it came out in 2012 with this scene. But
I feel like it's well done myself. I mean, I think
it is.
It's you know, and here's another theory on why people didn't like this movie. If you went into this movie thinking, I'm going to see James Gandolfini be a badass, and then you get Mickey, and you're like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to watch Ray Liotta be a badass, and you get Marky, who like, you get Ray Liotta everything but pissing and shitting himself in this movie. He is throwing up. He is crying. He is covered in blood, soaking wet, getting the shit beat out of him, getting shot, getting hit by cars after that. Like he is just he'd be better off eating pieces of his own brain to make a Hannibal reference.
I was going to say, I felt really bad for him in this movie.
Rough time.
Wow.
Yeah, you talk about that scene. Okay, great. We got some. It looks really cool when his head hits the glass in the windshield, but for me, I feel every single one of the punches in the earlier scene, and I feel so much more emotionally on such a more minimal beating than this whole grandiose CG looking killing. So
I agree. The beatdown is harder to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but again, because he's like wet, and how like every time I see Max Kinsella, it's just like you're Doogie Howser's best friend. It's so weird to see you like as a mobster. Sorry to still like paint him with that brush because the man has been acting his whole life. He's been on The Sopranos. He's been in Ed Wood, and the man gets around. He does good work. I don't mean to sell him short, but and he does a great job in the one scene he's in here. Like this is really believable. Like I love that they're talking to each other. They're using each other's first names and stuff. They're all on a first name basis. These are like they've hung out. These guys have gotten beers together before.
Yeah, that's the thing. To be beaten, to have the shit kicked out of you by like a friend, someone you know. That's why, like, I don't want to jump into it too fast, but like this whole title, "Killing Them Softly," like I thought for years, like Brad Pitt's such a badass, he's so cool as Jackie Cogan. I'm like, he's a fucking prick pussy. Like he
He's a
doesn't even have the
monster.
balls to look people in the eye. He wants to kill them from far away so he doesn't have to deal with their emotions.
He is a monster.
Fuck me off, dude.
But you're right. No, but this goes back to your point about emasculating and deglamorizing organized crime. Like, yeah, he is a badass in this movie in a lot of ways, but like he's not. But like everything he's doing is because he doesn't want to feel the pangs of conscience.
That's right.
Of someone.
He's not a badass. He's just a
There's no honor there.
Maybe he's a badass, but he's also one of the only. He's competent. I think he is one of the few, if only, competent people. He does.
Yes.
He knows what to do, even if he doesn't want to do it, and he does it the most cowardly way possible. Maybe. So.
No, you're right. He is the only competent person in this movie. But he the only way that he's able to do his job is by doing it in such a way that he'll either shoot from afar or. What he does to Frankie, I think, is far worse. He gives Frankie so much hope, and he makes Frankie betray his friend, played by Vincent Cortella, Squirrel. He makes him like do all this stuff, and then like gives him all this false hope to the last second, and it's really cruel. And it's all just done so that he doesn't have to listen to him yammer.
Yeah,
I looked this up because I saw the IMDb trivia where it said this was one of 22 movies to have an F score on Cinema Score, an F. There's 21 movies, and this is true. I looked up to verify it. I'm looking at the article right now that have an F score with Cinema Score. Since F started?
What other ones have Fs? What can we?
Here's a few examples. Solaris 2002.
I like that.
Awesome.
Mother! Exclamation point.
One of the worst movies of all time.
There you go. So that makes sense. Lucky Numbers, 2000, John Travolta. And
I saw it in theaters. It's not good.
In the cut. Definitely.
There it is.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense.
Been a while since we made a good in the cut joke.
It has. Yeah, it was perfect timing. Dr. T and the Women, a Richard Gere farce that is just
skip that
fucking
one.
Brutal. The Devil Inside, 2012. Looks like a scary movie. And Bug, which was a Willie Friedkin movie that you recommended to me a while ago, right?
Yeah, I've been meaning to catch that one.
Yeah. Alone in the Dark, 2005, Christian Slater.
Oh yeah, that's like famously one of the worst movies, Alone in the Dark. Oh boy.
Okay, so it's on this list of these 20, which I'm shocked by because I mean this movie is interesting still, and it's got a lot to offer. It's not a fucking disaster by any means, but this looks to have really, first off, fucked up Dominic's career because. I'm sure Eric's aware of this. He did this Nick Cave documentary as a follow-up, right?
Yeah.
That I'm sure you've seen.
Yeah, he wanted to make Blonde. I was waiting for Blonde to come out. He had this huge epic Marilyn Monroe biopic that he was going to do. Is it?
I believe.
Waiting.
It says post-production 2021 on IMDb. Yeah. So maybe
I think COVID trapped. Caught.
Oh yeah. But yeah, there's been Killing Them Softly as a director, and then. The documentary of a Mindhunter episodes, and then that's it. So
you're right.
And he doesn't do movies every year either. I get that, but the gap is growing, and the way that this movie is basically being painted by the masses here, which I really wasn't aware of coming when you said we're going to do this movie. I was like, oh, that'll be fun. It'll be interesting. It's not the perfect movie by any means, but it seems to be really kind of shit on.
Yeah. I didn't know it was so reviled.
I know. Neither did I.
It's the marketing. We've talked about it. People just expected something completely different. If you had the same movie with all unknown actors, people would be like, this is a really interesting, thought-provoking crime film. But like everyone just thought it was going to be fucking Goodfellas, and it just isn't.
Well, I think it is a thought-provoking crime film.
For sure.
Yes. I think that this is a thinking person's crime movie. It really is. And that it's so grounded in the economic crisis of 2008 should really like shout that to any viewer. Cause again, like the way it starts is not subtle. It's letting you know, hey, we have things to say about the state of America, and we're going to use, this criminal underworld to show you what's happening. And the proof, the truth is that some people get caught up in the thing and get destroyed, and people are plundering, and I can see why maybe at the time, maybe this was not what people wanted. Maybe they wanted some escapism, even in 2012.
Maybe
maybe they were not still maybe not quite interested in the commentary on Crisis. They were barely pulling themselves out of.
Maybe. Okay, that's interesting. It was it was still 2012. It was a couple years after the fact, but that doesn't mean people weren't in hell. People were in hell now, though.
Right.
Still,
right.
It never really
They were in
ended.
hell in 2007. Right.
Yes. This sentence kind of sums up why Killing Them Softly was on this list of F movies on CinemaScore. Gorgeously photographed and languidly paced, it's easy to see how it garnered such mainstream agitation. Some F scores are a warning, but with Killing Them Softly, it's a badge of honor.
What the fuck does that mean?
That it doesn't. It's a well done movie, and people just didn't get it. You know, it's a badge of honor. It doesn't belong on this list, and the fact that it is that sometimes mainstream society doesn't get it, and I think that's kind of a fair assessment here. Because first, either they did get it and they wanted something else, like you guys have clearly laid out, or what we have here is the painful reminder too, like, oh, I don't want to deal with this stuff, or I just don't get it. It's a really kind of a deep movie, even though I said we're movie freaks. So I said it was heavy-handed The Hut, but maybe it wasn't that heavy-handed for other people with all of these political commentaries and economic commentaries that are two machinations. So you got big politics, big-time crime family type stuff / big mob stuff. They work with the same kind of stuff. You got invalids and morons and fools all mixed throughout it with the occasional person who knows what they're doing. And I see a great subtext connected both of these worlds.
To shift gears a little bit, how did you guys feel about the one person of color in this entire movie, and also the only woman in this movie plays a prostitute? I take that back. There is a person of color. There's a black man in the background at one point who fires a gun and is yelling angrily. That's it. New Orleans. The only two black people in this movie. One's firing a gun in the background, screaming profanity. The other one's a prostitute. I'm like, I feel like we could have done better. I do get the sense that these are, it's organized crime, like white people might be sticking together. Like it does make sense.
Yeah, but the two bozos, Mendelsohn and McNary could have been black characters.
Could have been anybody, right? I mean,
everyone would have been pissed that they were the schlubbiest two assholes.
And also, I mean, this is about organized crime, but it's not about the Irish mob. It's not about the Italian mob. You get the sense this is a variety of people. And again, like if the white, I think the whiteness should have been either more centered, like make them overtly racist, which maybe I don't know that I necessarily wanted to hear that, but like it could have explained that a little bit more instead of kind of feeling like a little bit of an oversight. Again, doesn't feel, I mean, I've never fucking been to New Orleans. I've watched a lot of movies based in New Orleans, and typically, you're in New Orleans for a variety of reasons, including the fact that it's got one of the largest populations of African Americans in the country.
It's so true.
Trem, you ever watch Trem? That's done right.
I love Treme.
Treme
was fucking great, underrated show. So good. I love Treme.
Yeah, if you're gonna do Andrew Dominic, if you're going to have all these televisions, all these speeches, take advantage of the fact that you could have more ethnicity in your movie, because figuratively speaking, the whole nation, everybody, every color was being held up at gunpoint to hand over their money, to give up their equity, to stand there with their hands up and their mouths shut and just let it happen. It's not just Johnny Sack and Ray Liotta and all these Italian people. Like, go for it.
Johnny Sack. Oh, that's a fun call out.
Yeah,
he's a dick. His wife. I feel bad for his wife though.
But she was discovered for the role. She that actress very famously was like just a nobody that just kind of did a cold call in New Jersey. They just threw out like tens of thousands of people were trying to get the job, and she got it.
Well, that's a fun fact.
I just wanted a Milky Way, Johnny. I just wanted a Baby Ruth.
Yeah, this hiding of the candy bar thing. I mean, people, I don't know if they do it, but it gets overhyped in movies. One other thing I want to mention about things that get overhyped in movies that drove me fucking bonkers. Why, even in the 2010s, the clapper. I watched a movie last night. It's from 2011. They're using the clapper. I swear that was from the 80s. But the movie's always just putting it in movies still.
No one in the 80s used the clapper. I never met anyone in my fucking life who had a clapper.
Is it like a contract with Hollywood for 30 years or something?
I do know that future generations are going to look back and watch movies and be like, the people, they use clappers. They're going to assume that. Why wouldn't they?
I hate it. I hate it.
I'll give you a theory. It could be a fun transition device where you clap your hands, the lights go off, and you can go to the next scene. And it makes it more clever, but that's got to be the only reason.
That's the only reason.
So dumb. Sorry. All right, we're talking Kill Them Softly here. let's hit all the big points here and wrap this up because we're getting close to the end. What else? I know you got points.
I disapprove of some song choices here. I love Johnny Cash, but when the man comes around, kicks it, I'm like, man, this has got to be one of the most overused songs in film. For instance, and then also during a heroin scene where everyone's shooting up heroin, you're going to play Velvet Underground's Heroin. I'm like,
maybe he's not as subtle as I was giving him credit for earlier. Yeah, I kind of
a little too on the nose.
how about a song by a band or an artist, which there are plenty of, who are on heroin, but it's not about heroin. I don't know.
Or maybe even a New Orleans artist, right?
Yeah. There's one or two in New Orleans.
There's one or two musicians from New Orleans. You could have maybe played some of their stuff. I don't know.
His location seems like it was forced upon him. It has nothing to do with his idea of the film. I really get that feeling.
But it
was the cheapest tax-free thing, you know?
That's possible. And he may have been just trying to throw some money towards Katrina and shooting it there. But if you're shooting a movie about how the government has failed in protecting its people and you're filming it in post-Katrina fucking New Orleans, don't just exploit the urban decay that's around. Highlight where you are and why it is the way that it is. I mean,
that's a really, really great point. And also, I wasn't excusing. I'm just saying that's what movie companies do, right? Tax-free places. Hey, where do we get the best tax breaks?
Georgia. We all go to Georgia, apparently.
Now, currently, it used to be Michigan for a minute. Now it's Georgia.
It was New Orleans back then because Aaron Reichert, he was building sets down there at that time. So if that's the only reason they filmed it there, fuck them for not.
Well, no. Don't forget, Plan B is Brad Pitt's production company. Brad Pitt bought
you're right,
dozens of homes after Katrina and went down there and spent a lot of time, years invested in helping to rebuild the community and that kind of stuff. So if I had to guess, if they moved the story from Boston to New Orleans, I'm going to guess that that would have been Brad Pitt doing.
Oh, bye! Papa's pissed. Yeah, that's a good point on the music. Anything? I don't know. What else? I feel like we've covered a ton of this. I'm sure there's other points here.
There's bogus music choices, but I love the fact that there's not really a score, and especially not one that's drowning out every scene. You get extended periods of time where it's just the characters talking. You talk about that heist. I love that heist because it's just everyone's down to their heartbeats. All the eyes looking at Scoot McNairy and then Mendelsohn. It's just so you have nothing really to say. You have no fucking clue what you're getting into. It makes me so anxious.
Speaking of possibly heavy-handed metaphors, they go into this heist with this sawed-off shotgun that's sawed off so short that I'm worried that if he fires it, it's going to blow up in his face. Versus Jackie, who has this long cock shotgun that's just it never ending seemingly on the cover box. There's definitely some sort of phallic reference about competency going on here, which I thought was a little obvious, but still kind of well done.
Yeah,
I want to talk a little bit more about Brad Pitt because I love him as Jackie, but he's given us in these small doses, and for a role like this that we've never seen him play this badass hitman. It's a shame, in my opinion, that we're not given another hour of this. He's calm in these intense situations. Remember when he's walking down to the bar to meet Scoot McNairy, and there's this fucking fight in the background with guns. He doesn't even turn his head. He just keeps going straight. And you can imagine there's this whole history there of the character who's been through everything, and he's just his own.
He doesn't get distracted because he knows it could cost him his life. He seems to be very focused on what is at hand, what he needs to do, because one false move, one distraction, lights out.
I think that one of the things that maybe doesn't land for some people is that this film is really an ensemble piece, and it's marketed, and you're kind of expecting Brad Pitt to be the main character, but in a lot of ways, he is sharing the screen quite a bit. I mean, he's still the main guy, but Scoot McNairy, like you said, is probably the second main guy. And you get a lot of some other people like Ray Liotta's character and that kind of stuff. You get a lot of others.
I don't know if seriously, I've said this earlier, but I want to get this on the record one last time. I don't know if there's ever been a more disgusting character than Ben Mendelsohn's character. Yeah. It makes me ill when I look at him. I get uncomfortable, and I feel like the stink and the slime. It's so slimy. He's so slimy, physically slimy. It's amazing. Yeah.
Well, not only is he a dog thief, one of his first lines is something like he's talking about women in a way that is one of the most it's just reprehensible. One of the worst phrasings of like how to like treat a woman I think I've ever heard in film.
Yeah.
So, but like, yeah, you're supposed to hate him right off the bat, and they do a good job of making sure that you do. He is fantastic in the movie, but you're right, he is disgusting.
Yeah, I used to think that the Ewan McGregor climbing into the toilet bowl in Trainspotting was one of the grosser things I could recall on film, and this tops it.
Being stuck in the car with Kenny and Russell with all the dogs.
Yeah,
that would be worse. Which, by the way, like again, like to go, I kind of touched on it before, but like that scene is funny when Kenny goes to blow up the car and instead like hits himself. But like, why would you laugh at the dude and then tell the guy that you knocked over his boss's fucking card game? Like the one guy, Russell, the one guy who gets away is the guy that gives the whole game away, and he gets Squirrel and Frankie both killed. It's but again, like this movie subverts so much, and which I can see where some people will be like, "Oh, I don't like that. That doesn't meet my expectations." But I found it interesting to have my expectations defied.
Pretty good.
Yeah, come on, Mike. It's America. It's big business. Someone's got to get away scot-free.
Well,
that's right.
That gets us to the scene of the movie.
The
right?
scene. Yeah.
The scene of the
How
movie.
How many times did you watch it when you replayed it the other day?
Just the once. I don't wear myself out on that scene.
A couple times. I love it.
But that monologue at the end, that bar scene between Richard Jenkins and him at the end. What is he? I'm living in America, and in America, you're on your own. America's not a country; it's just a business. Now, fucking pay me.
Yes,
one of the best last lines of any movie. Just now, fucking pay me. Cut to black.
Cut to black. Beautiful. Everyone in the audience be like, "What? I thought this was going to be like."
My mind was like.
Yeah. Is this a love story? Does someone get murdered more?
Only 3 people get murdered. That's not enough.
No, that's a. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. That is really, really what stuck with me, and I can't believe I forgot that for a second. It's so well done there, man, and he's back and forth. He's trying to shortchange him, and that is America, man. There's people trying to cut each other out, not give them what they deserve or what the other person thinks they deserve, especially monetarily. It's all about business. It's all about money in the end, no matter what you hear otherwise. That's what drives this country, and it always did, and it started that way.
Again, like to go into why people might not like it. The climax, you got Vincent Curatola, Squirrel, shot down from afar and like shot like a dog in the street, which is not very climatic. There's no gunfight back.
He had a lovely date too, a nice little evening there.
Right. And then Scoot McNairy gets popped in the head again, kind of anticlimactic. But and so I can see where some people are like, I thought there'd be like some big, some sort of fight on top of a building or something with a blue light shooting out the top. Right. But instead, I think that Dominic really sticks the landing of this film with this outro. I mean, it like you said, Eric, it's a wordy film, and like he wraps it up with, and it's not just that, it's the hope and change. Obama has won. That's the backdrop that's going on. If people are celebrating because it's election night, Obama has won, everything's going to change, right? And and to have that, I think, perfectly written speech. I don't know if that's directly.
I think that bothered some people. Awesome. The fact, because it's the term, his first term was basically up when this movie came out. Right. So you had 4 years of Obama, and people who loved it, even if they were kind of blind to some of the faults, because all presidents have faults regardless. And maybe people were bothered by that, because this movie is not pro-Obama. It's not pro any president. It's pro, this is business. This is the reality of the situation.
Yeah, for being a political film. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, it deals with, like, overall, there's this undertone of these American promises, and a lot of the film is about promises and these transactions between people like Mickey and Jackie and the driver, Richard Jenkins, and everybody else. And any hope you might have is just going to be completely disillusioned one way or another. Someone's not going to be happy. I think there's a ton there for a script that gets accused of being too brief and distant. Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of the show, Aaron Worley, and he mentioned the word disillusionment in talking about this film as well. I think this film is, I think you guys you hit the nail on the head. This movie is about disillusionment in a big way.
Yep. I think that's a good place to wrap it up, boys. Maybe come to a final conclusion on this film. Does it hold up?
Does it hold up?
2012's Killing Them Softly.
Travis, this is your pick.
Yeah, I brought this to the table, so and I did start the podcast where I kind of accidentally said, "Oh, I think it's great." So I'll go ahead and say what it's probably been pretty clear that I do think this film holds up. I think that this is extremely representative of the time. I think it's a great film about a lot of it's about fuck around and find out, to use a little meme speak. People are like, I love when Vincent Curatola, Squirrel's character, is like, other people are going to think of this idea. We're not the only smart guys around. Like, no, you fucking idiot. Like, these people are fucking fools. And so I think that there's a lot going on in this movie. You have some really, really rich performances. And again, like if you just want James Gandolfini and Ray Liotta being typical tough guys, then you might be disappointed, but because they're showing some peak acting here from both of these men, I think are doing some of the better work of both of their careers in roles that are not that likable. Marky's pretty likable, but it's pitiful. And then Mickey is like you're right. Like you want him off the screen. You love James Gandolfini so much as an actor, but you despise this character whose hobby is fucking prostitutes. He's so gross. But yeah, so I'll wrap it up there. I like this movie even better than I thought I would. Still, I'm going to say this movie definitely holds up.
Wow. I'll go next. Eric, you closed it out recently? I don't know.
Go ahead, please, Mike.
My name is Michael Govier, and I do a show called the Cinema 9 Podcast. And on this show, we talk about movies. Today's movie is Killing Them Softly. And I must tell you that it's a 2012 film that has a lot to offer. It's brief, gets to the point, doesn't mess around, has some gross characters, has some doofusy characters. But Brad Pitt, people love Brad Pitt. I respect Brad Pitt. I think he's fine. I don't love him. I don't obsess over him. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer or anything like that. He's certainly a wonderful actor who's had a great career because he's made a lot of great choices too. He's also a beautiful man, so that gives him advantages that other people don't have. It's true. It's how society works, and it's how America works. And in this movie, it's about how America really works and who gets the opportunities, who doesn't, and who cashes in. And in the end, it's the same type of people, the same groups of people that cash in again and again and again. And this movie could have really done a better job, as you guys, Travis alluded to earlier in the show, by talking about these promises not being met from politicians and even business, regional business owners, national business owners, international conglomerates, not delivering the promises to these groups of people like African Americans or other oppressed minorities historically throughout the United States. And that could have really been brought more into this tale, especially with it being shot in New Orleans as well. It's just a big miss. And if you start to break it down like that, it's like, boy, this is a interesting, entertaining movie, but I think it's such a misfire that I'm going to say it doesn't hold up. I'm really going to say that because it's such an opportunity to open up people's minds, because it had big actors that drew a lot of people to see it. You could have created a tale that may have impressed or inspired or at least informed people. I know it's a fictional film too, but it still has a lot of historical, truthful elements mixed into it. And I think it was a missed opportunity. I'm going to say it doesn't hold up.
The IMDb, I don't know if you can trust it or not, but it tells us that Dominic had a 2.5 hour cut of this film and the producers wanted it trimmed the fuck down. I'd be real interested to look into any truth behind that, because like we all are saying, we want more. I mean, there's so much to be said. I mean, you like the brevity?
Honestly, one of the notes I made to myself that I forgot to mention was that I think in lesser hands, this would be a bloated 2.5 hour fucking film, and it would get tedious, and it would get like, when does it end? I think that going for, maybe 10 more minutes or so I could have handled that. But like, I think that part of this film's strength is its brevity. I think it's like a bullet.
Okay, well, that's interesting. And Mike, I respect your opinion. We're talking about, this is opening up a lot of conversation for us. So I think anyone taking a look at this is going to be probably inclined to talk a little bit more about not only criminal element, crime films in general, but this backdrop of this financial crisis. America's a fucking business. We're starting to live in a world that's populated by nothing but transactions, literally, figuratively. And this is a great example of how you can have that conversation and make a film solely about wretched characters and make it genuinely engaging. And yes, take a drink if you're playing the Cinema 9 game. Prescient. I think it's a masterful film. I love it. I think it completely holds up. And for me, it tantalized me. I want a scene with Dylan in it, and I want more scenes with some of these other characters. But I relish it. I love the film.
You know what? It kind of makes me think of a good pop song doesn't wear out its chorus.
Yeah.
You know, you when it's over, you listen to it over and over again because you want more of it, but you can only get what's there, you know? For that reason, I think it actually adds to the rewatchability of this movie.
Good call.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of a film. It reminds me of a little bit of Black Mass, which dealt exclusively with the Boston Mafia. And that is a long, exhausting, boring movie because they do try to stuff so much about where they get in the cops and all that shit. It's just a chore. So, yeah, you're right. Trim the fat.
There's no Johnny Law in this movie either. Did we mention that? Is there really?
There is,
except at the very end. Oh yeah.
They had the get shorty scene with the airport. Yeah,
Slimy gets busted. Never mind.
Old Slimy gets busted.
Old Slimy.
Oh, tonight, a brand new episode of Killing Them Softly. Old Slimy gets busted. All right, there it is. It's not a bad movie. I just feel like it might have been a missed opportunity here. So, and we asked if it holds up. That's my opinion. But you guys rule. You win 2-1. Victory for Travis and Eric today on the Killing Them Softly edition of the...
Not a competition.
Yes, it is. Everything's competition. And it will always... This is America, dude. Pay me and fuck off. All right. So next week, Eric Bransham's in charge. He's back on the scene. Eric, let's see. Where did he take us last time?
Well, I can't believe it's already me again because I took us to 1 hour photo. I was very happy
1 hour photo. That's right.
Man, loved it.
Where are we going this time?
Quick. We're going to go to 92. Okay. We're going to go back to 92. And
still in a room without a view?
We're actually going to, Travis, me and you talked about this film, and I'm not at a point right now where I can investigate a spin-off series. So I think this is a good time for us to take a look at a movie that I'm afraid is going to be way too problematic for its own good. But I remember loving so much when it first came out for so many mostly technical reasons and performance reasons. Michael Mann, Last of the Mohicans. Travis, you're going to have the opportunity to sound off, and I'm going to be really interested in what you have to say because from a technical standpoint, this movie is gorgeous to look at. Daniel Day-Lewis, Madeline Stowe, Wes Studi. What could go wrong?
I have never seen this movie, so...
You lived at the dump. We
I know, but I never watched it. No, I never. I mean, I might have seen one scene as I passed by, but I never sat down and watched this film ever. It just never, for some reason, it never motivated me, even though it's a Michael Mann film. So.
It was friend of the show, Luke Horvath's favorite movie. So
he would talk about it ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna find out the truth.
I guess we will too.
I've seen a slow-mo Daniel Day-Lewis running down the middle of the screen. I've seen that.
Yeah, he runs out the screen. It's in slow-mo.
Yeah, that's all I got. So. Look at that face on Travis. I wonder what's wrong with this movie.
That face is going to bother me for the next few
This is
hours.
why we do this show, though. This is why we do the show, everybody. So I
you already know how I feel about this movie, Eric. So, I mean, we're
going to get it on the record.
It's been a long time.
All right, there it is.
That's a dump.
There you go.
Probably was the last time, yeah.
Okay.
No, I watched it once since then. I don't remember when.
Yeah, I think this is why we do this. So you as a historian,
this is why we do this.
You break this down.
This is why we do this.
Well, I'm not.
It's not like I'm making you watch Triumph of the Will. I mean, you don't want to have to watch this.
Birth of a Nation?
Which one?
Which one? Yeah. Didn't work out.
All right, well, that's the choice. That's the movie we're gonna watch.
So
that is. You're right. That is correct.
All right, cool.
There it is. Well, next week we'll do it.
Bye-bye.
We'll watch the movie. We'll watch. Cinema@iPod at protonmail.com. If you want to just throw a logo out there for the hell of it, sure. We'd like to see your free samples. Christian did a great job. But if you guys are ever motivated to do work for us that we're not going to do, we love it. So it's always cool. Thank you so much to you people, and the ones that we don't even know about out there who listen, watch, and connect with us every so often. Until next week.
Pay me.
Now, it's America. Now fucking pay us. We'll see you next week for The Last of the Mohicans, 1992 film. Until then, I'm Michael Govier. He's Travis Roy, and that's Eric Brancham, who chose next week's movie. So direct all your commentary towards him. Thank you.